Good morning. Today in this lecture I want to describe about underground cables. Okay. So before going to the brief discussion on underground cable, first we should understand what is underground cable. Okay. Here when I am talking about the underground cable, okay. So these are the topics we have to cover when we have to complete the underground cable. Before going to the details of the underground cable, first we should know what is underground cable. So an underground cable is an essentially consists of one or more conductors covered with suitable insulation and surrounded by a protecting cover. Okay. And this cable is laid underground to transmit or distribute the electrical power. Okay. So now, as per our previous discussion, you know that electrical power can be transmitted or distributed either by overhead system. Okay. In our previous discussion, we have already talked about our overhead transmission and distribution system. So you know that electrical power can be transmitted or distributed by overhead system, and also it can be transmitted and distributed by underground cables also. So when we are talking about the underground cables, this underground cable have several advantages. Okay, in comparison to the overhead lines, such as uh, these are less liable to damage through the storms or lightning, and the maintenance cost is low when we are talking about the underground cables in comparison to overhead transmission line or distribution line. And here also there is less chance of fault and a smaller voltage drop, and underground cables offer better general appearance also. Okay. But the main drawback of the underground cables in comparison to the overhead transmission and distribution system is that they have greater installation cost. Okay, when we have to or when we are talking about the installation cost and we are comparing the installation cost of underground cable and overhead transmission and distribution line, here the installation cost is more, and here there is the introduction of insulation problem at high voltages compared with the overhead system. For this reason, actually, underground cables are employed where it is impracticable to use the overhead lines. Like the location which are thickly populated areas, or where municipal authorities prohibit overhead lines for reasons of safety, or around plants and substations, or where maintenance conditions don't permit the use of overhead construction, there we can use the underground cable system. Okay. Underground cables for many years has been used for distribution lines of electrical power in congested urban areas at comparatively low or moderate voltages. However, in recent years, improvement in the design and manufactures have led to the development of cables suitable for use at high voltages also. This has made it possible to employ underground cables for transmission of electrical power for short or moderate distances. And here, although we know that there are several types of cables are available, but the type of cables which are to be used will be depend upon the working voltage and service requirements. A cable must fulfill the following necessary, a cable must be fulfill the some requirements as per the requirements. Okay, I am talking about the requirements now. The following as per the requirement, our first requirement is the conductor used in cables should be tin stranded copper or aluminum of high conductivity, and stranding is done so that the conductor may become flexible and carry more current. Then the next requirement is the conductor size should be such that the cable carries the desired load current without overheating, and this causes voltage drop within permissible limit also. Then the next requirement of underground cable is the cables must have proper thickness of insulation in order to give high degree of safety and reliability at the voltage for which it is designed. Okay. Then the next requirement is the underground cables must be provided with suitable mechanical protection so that it may withstand the rough use in laying it. Okay. Then the next requirement is the materials used in the manufacture of underground cables should be such that there is complete chemical and physical stability throughout. Okay, so these are the main requirements. Okay, when you are talking about the underground cable. Some practical discussions on underground power cables. That is in New York City, there is no overhead since 1890s. Okay, they are making underground cables. Okay, in Singapore also 100% underground system is there. And when I'm talking about the Netherlands, the distribution is 100% of underground cable. And in Belgium also ban overhead lines since 1992. Belgium ban overhead lines since 1992, and Denmark replaced 6 132 kV overhead lines with 2 new 400 kV underground cables in 1997 and 1999. And in December 99, storms in France caused many blackouts. New policy is 25 HP lines are underground. Now we are going to talk about the construction of underground cables. Okay, so see the figure. This figure shows the general construction of a 3 conductor cable, and the various parts of the cables are: first one is cores or conductors, and the next one is insulation, then the next one is metallic sheath. See the diagram. Okay, and the next is our bedding, and the next one is armoring, and the next part is serving. Okay, so these are the main parts of the underground cable when you have to construct a underground cable. See the diagram. Okay, so the first part of the underground cable is what? Cores or conductors. Okay, so when I am talking about cores or conductor, here I can tell a cable may have one or more than one core or conductors depending upon the type of service for which it is intended. For instance, the 3 conductor cable as per the figure is used for 3-phase services, and the conductors are made of tin, copper, of aluminum, and are usually stranded in order to provide flexibility to the cable. Then the next part of the underground cable is, that is your insulation. Okay, see where the insulation is there. Okay, so when I'm talking about the insulation, then I can tell each core or conductor is provided with a suitable thickness of insulation, and the thickness of layer depending upon the voltage to be withstand by the cable. Okay, normally the materials used for insulation are impregnated paper, varnished cambric or rubber mineral compound. Okay, now come to the metallic sheath. So when I'm talking about the metallic sheath, I can tell here, suppose we want to talk about the cable which should be protected from the moisture, gases or other damaging liquids in the soil and atmosphere. A metallic sheath of lead or aluminum is provided over the insulation. See the figure. Okay, see the figure where we are talking about where we are making the metallic sheath. Okay, above to the insulation we are keeping the metallic sheath there. Okay, that is made of here in our diagram. Here the metallic sheath is made of lead sheath. First our conductor is there, then we have for insulation we have installed the insulation there, paper insulation. Then after that we have made the metallic sheath as a lead sheath. Okay, then we have to talk about our bedding. So above to the lead sheath we have to talk about our bedding. So over the metallic sheath it is applied a layer of bedding which consists of fibers material like jute or hessian tape. Okay, the purpose of bedding is to protect the metallic sheath against corrosion and from mechanical injury due to any kind of armoring. Okay, now the next part of the above to the bedding we are giving armoring to the underground cable. So what is armoring? Over the bedding, armoring is provided which consists of one or two layer of galvanized steel wire or steel tape, and its purpose is to protect the cable from the mechanical injury while laying it and during the course of handling. And the armoring may not be done in the case of some cables also. Okay, whenever it is required or whenever it is highly essential, then we are giving armoring. Some cables also we are not providing armoring. Next part of the underground cable is what? Serving. Okay, so in order to protect armoring from the atmospheric condition, another layer of fibrous material like jute or similar to bedding is provided over the armoring, which is known as serving. Okay, now I want to discuss about the insulating materials. Okay, for cables briefly, and before going to discuss about the insulating materials. Okay, as we know that insulating materials for cable is considerably important. So for that we should understand the properties of insulating material. Okay, so for that I want to discuss about the properties of insulating material. Here in my first point I can tell the first property of insulating material, that is as per the slide shown. I can tell here high insulation resistance should be offered by the insulating material to avoid leakage current. Okay, then the insulating material should have high dielectric strength to avoid electrical breakdown of the cable. Then the next properties of insulating material, that the insulating material should offer high mechanical strength to withstand the mechanical handling of cable. Okay, next it should be non hygroscopic. Okay, and similarly the next properties, it should be non inflammable And the next properties of underground cable is the next properties of insulating material used in underground cable is that should be non-inflammable. Then the next property is low cost. The cost of the insulating material we are using in underground cable should be less, or the cost should be low, so that to make underground system uh, in a economical way. Okay. And the next properties of underground cables insulation should be unaffected by acids and alkalines to avoid any kind of chemical reaction. Okay, so these are the main properties of insulating material used in underground cable. Now I want to discuss about the insulating material in details. So the principal insulating materials which are used in underground cable are rubber, then that is our vulcanized Indian rubber, and next one is impregnated paper, and next one is varnished cambric, and final that is polyvinyl chloride. Okay, so these are the insulating materials which may be used in underground cable. So first I want to discuss about rubber. And the rubber is normally obtained from milky sap of tropical trees, or it may be produced from oil products. And the relative permittivity of rubber is varying between 2 and 3, and the dielectric strength of rubber is about 30 kb per mm, and the resistivity of insulation is 10 to the power 17 ohm cm. Okay, though rubber is a pure rubber has a reasonable insulating properties, but the drawback is it readily absorbs moisture, and maximize maximum safe temperature is low, about that is 38 degree centigrade. Okay, so the pure rubber may be damaged due to rough handling and age when exposed to light. Therefore pure rubber can't be used as insulating material. Okay, now the next insulating material is vulcanized rubber. Okay, so vulcanized Indian rubber is nothing but that is our VIR, which is prepared by mixing pure rubber with mineral uh, matter such as zinc oxide, red lead, etc., and 3 to 5% of sulfur. Okay, this compound so formed is rolled into thin sheets and cut into strips. Okay, and the rubber compound is then applied to the conductor, and is heated to a temperature of about 150 degrees centigrade, and this process is called vulcanization, and the product which is obtained is known as vulcanized Indian rubber. Vulcanized Indian rubber offers greater mechanical strength and durability and wear resistance property in comparison to the pure rubber, but the main drawback of uh, VIR or vulcanized Indian rubber is it reacts very quickly with copper, and for this reason cable using VIR insulation have tinned copper conductor, and the VIR insulation is generally used for low and moderate voltage cables. Okay, the next insulating material is impregnated paper. So this impregnated paper which is used in underground cables consists of chemically pulped paper made from wood uh, keepings and impregnated with some compound such as paraffinic or naphthenic materials. Okay, the advantage of impregnated paper is of low cost, or this type of insulating material of low cost and low capacitance, high dielectric strength, and these are also offering high insulation resistance. The disadvantage of impregnated paper is the paper is hygroscopic, and even it is impregnated with suitable compound, so it absorbs moisture and thus lowers the insulation resistance of the cable. These reasons, paper insulated cables are always provided with some protective covering and are never left unsealed. Then the next insulating material is varnished cambric. Okay, so this type of insulating material, that is varnished cambric, is of cotton cloth impregnated and coated with varnish. This type of insulating is also known as empire tape, and this cambric is lapped on to the conductor in the form of a tape, and its surface are coated with petroleum jelly compound to allow for the sliding of one turn over another as the cable is bent. Okay, normally varnished cambric is hygroscopic, therefore such cables are always provided with metallic sheath, and the dielectric strength of varnished cambric is about 4 kV per mm, and the permittivity is about 2.5 to 3.88. Okay, now come to discuss about the next insulating material which is used in underground cables, that is polyvinyl chloride or PVC. Okay, this kind of insulating material this kind of insulating material are used in a synthetic compound. It is obtained from the polymerization of acetylene and is in the form of white powder. For obtaining this kind of material as a cable insulation, it is compounded with certain materials which is known as plasticizers, and which are liquids with high boiling point. Then the plasticizers from a gel and renders the material plastic over the desired range of temperature. This polyvinyl chloride has high insulation resistance, and these are offering good dielectric strength, and also PVC offering mechanical toughness over a wide range of temperatures. Okay, as per the mechanical properties we are going to discuss. Okay, the PVC, the mechanical property offered by PVC are not so good as those of rubber. Therefore PVC is insulated, or PVC insulated cables are generally used for low and medium domestic lights and power installations. Next we are going to classify our underground cable. So cables for underground cables for underground service are classified in two ways. That is, the first one is the type of insulating material used in their manufacture. Then the next one is the voltage for which they are manufactured. Okay, normally the second, that is the voltage for which they are manufactured, is the preferred classification according to which cable can be divided into the following groups. Okay, so as per the voltage, okay, now we are going to classify the underground cables. So the first one is low tension LT cables, that is up to 1000 volt. Then the next one is high tension, that is HT line or HT cables, that is up to 11,000 volt or 11 kV. Then the next one is super tension cables, that is ST cables, that is which is for voltage range of about 22 kV to 33 kV. Then extra high tension cables, that is EST cables, which is ranging from 33 kV to 66 kV. Then the next range of cable which is as per the voltage is, that is extra super voltage cable, which is beyond or which is used beyond 132 kV. So here we have talked about or we have discussed about the classification as per the voltage uh, for which we are manufacturing the underground cables. Okay, now we can tell that a cable might have one or more than one core depending upon the type of service for which it is intended. Okay, it may be that is first one is single core, or then the next one is two core, or it may be three core, or it may be four core, etc. Okay, so here I want to talk about the single core low tension cable. See the diagram. Okay, that is used for single core low tension cable. Here that is first one is our stranded copper conductor, then above to that impregnated paper, then the next cover is what lead sheath, and the next to lead sheath, that is our serving. Okay, so this cable is capable of ordinary, or this cable has ordinary construction, already we have discussed here. Okay, uh, uh, the stress developed in the cable is for low voltage, that is up to 6.6 kV. Okay, normally single core cables are not usually armored in order to avoid excessive sheath loss. Okay, and the principal advantage of single core cable are simple construction and availability of large copper section. Now come to the discuss about the cable for three phase service. Okay, so in real practice, normally underground cables uh, are generally required to deliver three phase power. Okay, so for the region or for the region for this purposes, either three core cables or three single core cables may be used. For voltage up to 66 kV, three core cables, that is multi core construction, is preferred due to economical reasons. However, for voltages beyond 66 kV, three core cables become too large and unwieldy, and therefore single core cables are used. Following are the types of cables generally used for three phase service. That is, the first one is belted cable, that is which is used up to 11 kV. Then the next type is screened cable, which is ranging from 22 kV to 66 kV. Then the next type of three phase service cables are pressure cables, which is beyond 66 kV. Now I want to discuss about belted cables. Okay, See the diagram of belted cables. First three conductors, okay, then above to that some insulation we are providing between the conductors, okay, then after that paper belt is used, then the next one is insulation between conductors and sheaths, then finally we are giving lead sheath, and above to that obviously another parts which we are previously discussed we have to give in there, okay. Normally belted cables are used for voltage up to 11 kV, okay, and it may be extended up to 22 kV. The belted type construction is suitable for only low and medium voltages. The electrostatic stresses developed in the cable for these voltages are more or less radial across the insulation. However, for high voltages which is beyond 22 kV, the tangential stresses are also become important, and these stresses act along the layers of paper insulation. The insulation resistance of paper is quite small along the layers, therefore tangential stresses set up leakage current along the layers of paper insulation. The leakage current causes local heating, resulting in the risk of breakdown of insulation at any moment. In order to overcome the difficulty, screened cables are used where leakage current are conducted, or where the leakage currents are conducted to earth through the metallic screens, okay. So the next discussion is our next discussion is what the kind of that is screen cables, okay. So here I want to talk about screen cable. Normally these kind of cables are meant for use up to 33 kV, and these are particular in or in the particular cases this may be used to extend the operating voltage up to 66 kV also. Two principal types of screened cables are used, that is H type or SL type cables. So in our first discussion I want to discuss about H type cable. See the diagram of H type cable. This type of cables was H type cables was designed by H, okay, and the because of the H we are so when we are talking about H-type cables, this type of cables is or this type of cables are designed by H, and so the name is like that, okay. See the constructional features as per the figure, okay. Here we are making a typical 3-core H-type cable. Here each core is insulated by a layer of impregnated paper, and the insulation on each core is covered with a metallical screen, which is usually consists of aluminum foil, okay. The cores are laid in such a way that the metallical screens make contact with one another, and an additional conducting belt is wrapped around the three cores. Then the cables are here we are talking about here that this cable has no insulating belt, but lead sheath, bedding, armoring, and serving are used as usual, okay. It is easy to see that each core screen is in electrical contact with the conducting belt and the lead sheath, okay. As per we are talking about as three core screens and the conducting belt and the lead sheaths are earth potential. Therefore, the electrical stresses are purely radial and consequently dielectric losses are reduced when you are using S-type cables in underground system. The principal advantage of S-type cables are these are claimed for firstly the firstly we can talk about the perforations in the metallical screens assist the complete integrated of the cable with the compound and thus the possibility of air pockets over voids in the dielectric is eliminated. The void, if present, tend to reduce the breakdown strength of the cable and may cause considerable damage to the paper insulation. Then the second point is the metallic screens increase the heat dissipating power of the cable. Then come to discuss about SL type cables. Okay, see the diagram of SL type cables. Okay, uh, it is basically S-type cables, but the screen around each core insulation is covered by its own lead sheath. There is no overall lead sheath, but only armoring and serving are provided when it is SL type cables. Okay, and the SL type cables have two main uh, advantage over H-type cables, which is firstly you can tell the separate sheaths minimize the possibility of core to core breakdown. Then secondly, uh, benefiting or the bending of cables becomes easy due to the elimination of overall lead sheath. However, the disadvantage of SL type cables are that is, the three lead sheaths of SL cables are much thinner than the single sheath of H cable, and therefore we are and therefore greater care of manufacturing is required. Okay, now I want to talk about the limitation of above solid type cables we have discussed. Okay, these type of cables or construction are referred to as solid type cable, that is our SL type and S type cables are of solid type cables because solid insulation is used and no gas or oil circulates in the cable sheath. The voltage limit for solid type cable is up to 66 kV due to the following reason. Or the first reason is a solid cable carry the load, its conductor temperature increases and the cable uh, expands, and which due to this action the stretch it stretches the lead sheath, which may be damaged. Then the next option is when the load on the cable decreases, the conductor cools and partial vacuum is formed within the cable sheath, and if the pinholes are present in the lead sheaths, okay, moist air may be drawn into the cable. Therefore, it may reduce the dielectric strength of insulation, which may eventually causes the breakdown of the cable. Then the next limitation is to that is voids are always present in the insulation of cable. Okay, though in our modern techniques due to our modern techniques of manufacturing, we have resulted void free cables. However, under operating conditions The voids are formed as a result of the differential expansion and contraction of the sheaths and impregnated compound. Therefore, breakdown strength of voids is considerably less than that of the insulation. So, if the void is small enough, the electrostatic stress across it may cause its breakdown. And the voids nearest to the conductor are the first to break down. Therefore, and the chemical and thermal effects of ionization causing permanent damage to the paper insulation. Okay, now I want to talk about the next cable, that is our pressure cable. So when the operating voltage is beyond 66 kV, then solid type cables are unreliable because there is a danger of breakdown of insulation due to the presence of voids. Okay, so when the operating voltage is greater than 66 kV, then pressure cables are used. Okay, there are two types of pressure cables, that is oil filled cables and gas pressure cables are commonly used. So first I want to talk about oil filled cable. Okay, so when I am discussing about oil filled cable, in this type of cables, channels or ducts are provided in the cable for oil circulation. The oil under pressure is kept constantly supplied to the channel by means of external reservoirs placed at suitable distances along the route of the cable. Oil under pressure compresses the layer of paper insulation and is forced into any voids that may have formed between the layers. Due to the elimination of voids, oil-filled cables can be used for higher voltages, and the range may be from 66 kV to 230 kV. We can use oil-filled cables. Okay, oil-filled cables are of three types, that is single core conductor channel, then the next one is single core sheath channel, and the next one is three core filter space channel. See the figure. This figure shows the constructional details of a single core conductor channel oil filled cable, and here the oil channel is formed at the center by stranding the conductor wire around a hollow cylindrical steel spiral tape. The oil under pressure is supplied to the channel by means of external reservoir, and the channel is made of spiral steel tape which allows the oil to percolate between copper strands to the wrapped insulation. The oil pressure compresses the layer of paper insulation and prevents the possibility of void formation, and this system is so designed that when the oil gets expanded due to increase in cable temperature, the extra oil collects in the reservoir. However, when the cable's temperature falls during light loads condition, then the oil the oil from the reservoir flows to the channel. Uh, the main disadvantage of this type of cable is that the channel is at the middle of the cable and is at a full voltage with respect to earth, so that a very complicated system of joints is necessary there. Okay, see the figure which shows the constructional details of single core sheath channel oil filled cable. In this type of cable, the conductor is solid similar to that of solid cable and is paper insulated. However, oil ducts are provided in the metallic sheaths, and in the three core oil filled cables. Okay, see the figure of three core oil filter cable. Okay, here the oil ducts are located in the filter space and these channels are composed of perforated metal ribbon tubing and are at the earth potential. Okay, and the oil filled cables have three main advantages, that is firstly formation of voids and ionization are avoided. Then the second advantage is allowable temperature range and dielectric strength are increased. Then the third advantage is if there is leakage, the defect in the lead sheath is at once indicated and the possibility of earth fault is decreased. However, the disadvantage of this kind of cables are here the high initial cost and complicated system of laying. Okay, now come to discuss about gas pressure cable. As we know, the voltage required to set up ionization inside a void increases as the pressure is increased, but at the same time the increased pressure produces radial compression which tends to close any kind of voids, and this is the principle of this is the principle of gas pressure cables. Okay, see the diagram. Okay, this diagram shows the section of external pressure cable designed by Starter, Vogel and Bowden. The construction of the cable is similar to that of an ordinary solid type, except that it is of triangular shape and the thickness of lead sheath is 75% as comparison to the solid cable. The triangular sections reduces the weight and gives low thermal resistance. And the main reason of the triangular shape is that the lead sheath acts as a pressure membrane. The sheath is protected by a thin metal tape. See the diagram. The thin is protected by a thin metal tape and the cable is laid in a gas tight steel pipes, and the pipe is filled with dry nitrogen gas at 12 to 15 atmospheres, and then the gas pressure produces radial compression and closes the voids that may have formed between the layers of paper insulation. These kind of cables can vary or these kind of cables can carry more load currents and operate at higher voltages than the normal cables. Okay, the maintenance cost is small and the nitrogen gas helps in quenching any kind of flame when I am talking about the gas pressure cables. Okay, but the disadvantage of gas pressure cable is that the overall cost of gas pressure cable is very high. Okay, so this finishes the details of or this finishes the details of underground cable and the classification of underground cable. Okay, thank you very much.